In this tutorial, we're going to do a quick overview of the Advanced Social System and show you how the command and emote system works. So if we go into the Blueprints folder and into the Social, we see all of the different blueprints needed for the social system. We have some data tables here for the command list and the emote list. We have the lists for the demo content for your players and guilds, which just simulates if you were to load from a data table or save file. We have the command type enum that you can create different command types if you want. You can update the message colors that get displayed to the clients. You can update the system message colors for system alerts that show locally. Basically, this is where you would configure the system the way you want. Now, if we go into the social system component, you'll see here we have a commands function tab. And inside of it are the different command types. When a player uses a command in the chat, it triggers the execute command function, which takes that command and splits up the message. So if we take a look at the list of commands, the command name on the left here is very important, as well as the shortcut. So if you type /remove, it'll return the command remove and save it as the local command. Then it also returns the command type. Using that command type, we switch to do different logic for the different types of commands. A system command is a local client command for things like quit. The server command is things that you need to be executed on the server. Chat commands are also client-side. It's mostly changing your chat channel to guild or party. The emote command takes the command that you specified, and it gets the emote data from the list of emotes. That way it knows what animations or sounds and text to display to the different players. Then you have the party commands and the guild commands that are run on the server. What they do are actions like invite, accept, kick, promote, things like that. So if we take a quick look at the server command, you see here that it's running through an event that runs on server and is reliable. So we're not simply calling the server command function, we're having the server call the server command function, and we're passing in the command and the message. Whereas if you take a look at the system command, it's calling the function directly because we're running it on the client. Whereas again, the server execute server command is what we're calling instead of directly calling the server command function. I hope that's not too confusing. So now if we take a look at the chat command, which is run locally, you can see here it looks a little complex, but really it's just calling the different functions or actions depending on the command. So most of them are just, you can see, setting the current channel in your chat window. A few of them trigger functions. And the chat commands is just a macro that you can specify. So here's a cleaner example maybe. So if you look at the server command, we only really have one server command, command time, which returns the current time on the server. So let's go ahead and create a new command here just to demo something off. We'll call it command demo. Let's make sure to set it to private, and we will set it to the category commands server. Okay, so now that we have a new command function that we want to call, we can go into the server command and drop it in. So now we might want to pass in the message that gets input with the command from the player. So if your command needs some input, you just want to pass in the local message to it. And now if we open up this server commands macro, we can add some new logic here. So it's very important when you're doing this equals to that it's spelt exactly the same as your command name in the list. You want to make sure that you've capitalized the first letter. So now when someone uses the /demo command, even if it had shortcuts for like /d or /dm or something, they will all trigger this one command. Now that we have a simple exec out for demo, if a command gets input to the server command function for demo, it'll run this command demo function. And now for some quick logic here. So if we want to make sure that something's running on the server, a great way to do it is a print string. Because when a print string happens on the server for a client, it'll actually say server in front of the message. So now that we have a simple command here, we'll go ahead and compile and save. Now if we go into the list commands data table, we need to create the command. And of course you can always do this first, it doesn't matter what order, but it's just important to make sure that your command name matches. So we'll just give it a shortcut of /demo. It's a demo command that runs on server. The usage would be /demo and then a message. And the type is server. So now we can save this. And that's it. We now have a server command that has its own custom logic, runs on the server. You know, when they type /demo for the shortcut, it returns the command and the command type. It knows it's a server type, so it passes it to the server and says, hey, run this command with this message. Then it does a final check for logic. Okay, it's a demo command. We'll run the command demo function. So now let's go and test this. Make sure you have run on dedicated server with 1 player. That way you're the client. So you can see what I'm talking about the server string. So now if we type demo test message, we see the server outputs a test message. Whereas if you were the server executing server commands, it's not going to tell itself that it's the server. As you can see here, it just says I'm the server. So print strings are a great way for debugging and testing things, and that's just one way to help make sure your code is actually running on the server. Okay, so that's pretty much as simple as it gets for adding commands. I would say take a look at some of the other commands like the systems, where you see that it's just /help returns the help list. You can quit the game. Command who should probably be moved to the server depending on your game if you want to get that player list from the server each time. And then you have the emote list. So next we're going to add a new emote. We're just going to first import a new animation here. So I've got this one from Emote here, and I've got to make sure I turn off import mesh. You want to select your skeleton, animation length, exported time, just import it. Some of these Mixamo animations aren't the best, but it's a great place to get some temporary animations for testing. Okay, so I've got a waving animation here, so let's just rename it to Emote Wave. If we take a look at the animation, you can see it's not very good at all, the feet jitter and stuff like that, but that's fine because we can say to only play the upper part of the animation. So if we create a new montage for it and open it up, you see here by default it's the default slot, which plays the whole animation for the montage, but if we pick upper slot, ignore the duplicate names here, that's just a bug current in Unreal. It doesn't mess anything up. So if you pick upper slot, it's only going to play from the spine one up, so basically just above the waist. Now if we go into the list emotes, we want to create a new emote called Wave. Okay, we'll just write the local message, which you see when you do the emote, so you wave. The normal message is what other people see, so like pirate waves. And then we'll pick the animation. And now that's it. So we can add the emote into the command list. So again, we want it to be the same name, so wave. Shortcut would be /wave. Description, wave emote. Don't need a usage. And then you want to make sure you pick the emote type. That way when it runs through that logic, it knows it's an emote and it tries to find the emote data based on the command name. Okay, perfect. So now we've got the emote. So again here, just to recap, when we fire off an emote, it'll send the emote to the server. It'll look it up in that emote data list, and it'll return the sound and animation. Here it'll call the events from the player character to multicast the emote montage and sound. And then after, it will return the client's local message, and then it'll output the emote message to all the other players around. Okay, so let's test it with 2 players here. So we'll just /wave, and you can see he starts waving. It says you wave, and on the other player it says ninja waves. Now pirate's waving, and that's it. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please email us or ask us in our support thread.